My other one comes tomorrow.
Good morning, 5-star. Happy Thursday. I'm
Happy
here with your amazing broker support team. And as you can see, we have a new face here, Paul Brooks.
Hey, Paul
Everybody
Brooks.
meet Paul Brooks.
Hey guys.
Morning. Paul has been added to our broker support team. He comes to us with about 30 years of experience. He's owned 2 brokerages and has closed, you know your number? How many transactions? I hear you're
2,500 something. I don't know.
Not like 2,500, just a few. Just a few.
He's a rock star.
He's a rock star.
I'm tired.
So
a tired
he
rock
decided he's going to help
Tired.
all you close 2,500 transactions, right?
Right.
So we're excited to have him as part of our team. We're going to post in the comments our who to call list. That just helps you to know when you do need broker support, the Deal Doctor line broker support, and Paul has now been added to that. So if you have any questions,
Call me.
call everybody, call Paul.
Call me.
Call Paul. He's anxious to help. So
I know I do.
Yep. So awesome. So today we have decided that we are going to talk about this quick assessment. When you onboarded, you have talked to Justin or our onboarding team, and they talk about this quick assessment. And then we send you a link, and then periodically you're seeing these emails come out that go, hey, have you taken the quick assessment? And it has a link, click here. So we're also going to post that link, and you can find it in your 5-star dashboard. But we just wanted to talk a little bit about that and give you some of the answers. Many of you have taken it, but we've never circled back around to get you back with the answers and help you to understand. So the first thing I want you to understand is the quick assessment is not a test. We're not trying to trick you. We're not trying to say how smart you are or aren't. We're really just trying to get you familiar with 5-star. And that's our whole goal, is so that you have an understanding of who we are and what we're here to do, and just a few of the main topics that we want to cover with you. So we're going to jump in here at number 1, and we'll get as far as we can today, but we want to give you, we're going to ask the questions, and then we're going to give you some answers. So you can come back if you're watching this after it's been recorded. This is something you can pop into and have any answers or find the answers. So, all right, we ready, guys?
We're ready.
All right, I'm going to ask the first question, and you all just get to jump in. We're just going to roll with this, okay? All right, so number 1 on the quick assessment is, can an agent help a buyer write a contract to buy a home and still remain in the seller's agent only? Who's my pro out there?
Jeez.
I'll say yes.
That's a tough one.
Okay.
I'll agree with Tracy. Absolutely yes.
I'll say yes. And I'll say that when I'm in a situation where I'm representing the seller, I've signed a seller's disclosure agency on the front end when I entered into a listing contract with my seller. Then I have a buyer that comes along that wants to write an offer on the property. There's many ways that you can do it, but yes, you can do it and stay a seller's agent. So for me, I like staying I always begin and end with the person I started with. So in that case, it would be a seller's agent. So my disclosure to the buyer would be, hi, I'm Tracy. I'm a seller's agent. And hi, I'm Mr. Smith. I'm a buyer. So that's just me though. I begin and end with who I start with, but you absolutely can remain a seller's agent and still represent that buyer. You just have to let them know what position you're in.
Well, and Tracy, I think that's the key of what you just said. You've got to let them know ultimately your fiduciary responsibility is to who?
Yep.
The seller, right?
The seller.
But again, good explanation of how the business works, how this would work. And again, normally when I'm talking to a buyer and I'm having these conversations, once you explain that, all of a sudden it's like, oh, okay. Well, and oh, by the way, I'm okay with that too. So again, I don't really have a whole lot of people that have a lot of pushback that get really, like, gosh, how do I really understand that? So no, that makes total sense. And I think after that explanation is given, again, people feel more comfortable with that. So.
Paul, did you have something?
Yeah, it was an interesting topic. I took this quiz myself. My life was in a lot of new home construction and condo developments and models and stuff like that. And so I ran into this all the time. When I looked at my numbers in the past, it was probably 85% of the units I sold were double dips because the people were coming to the projects with me. And I had to explain this all the time. And the people were very fine with it. They actually probably felt more comfortable because I knew the product and knew what was going on in the transaction than someone outside that didn't. And so it was never an issue with me. I just explained to what Doug said and what you said. I'm an agent for the seller. We're going to help you get what you want, and we're going to do it, you know, as cleanly as possible. And the fact that I want to win you over as a customer, a client down the road. And I said that I want this to go as good for you as a seller, and that's kind of how I sold it. And they were very fine with it. But I mean, I'm talking hundreds and hundreds of deals that I had, because I'd have a project that I'd have 200 units in.
Mhm.
So again, 85% of those I sold my own. And that is kind of what my spiel was. Never had a problem. And the people were my repeat business after that. So
Well, they felt they could trust you, and that's
they
the,
could trust me.
that's the bottom line.
Yep,
We
and so
wanted
just
to-
one more step on this would be, so if I have an open house and I have a listing and I'm representing my seller, and a buyer comes in, I will stay in the seller's position. I represent the seller. Do I have to give that transaction away? Or can I still just be a seller's agent and still facilitate that transaction?
Absolutely. Absolutely, you can. I mean, it's obvious when they walked up to the front door, your sign was in the front yard. So it's really hard to dispute the relationship between the seller and the seller's agent. We've shaken hands, we've signed papers, they've allowed me to put a sign in their yard. So, you know,
Yeah.
we've discussed things, right? They've told me their motivation to move and things like that. So for me to sever that relationship and then go to somewhere else and say, oh, I just had amnesia, I forgot everything you told me. To me,
I
no.
like that.
But yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
And these
So-
are big topics, but give one of us a call. We'd love to chat with you about it, because then that takes into a whole nother topic about dual agency and why 5-star doesn't prefer that and the liability that comes with that. So that's a little further down our list, but just call us up and say, hey, I watched the live stream. Okay, so we just had a question
Yep.
that says, oops, I just lost the
Nick
question. on there.
Sparks,
Oh.
yeah.
What if you have already written offers for a buyer on a different house and then bring them to your listing? Excellent question.
Mhm.
So that's going to take us down to the next one, Nick. So let's just tie these in. So the next question is, how many separate agreements do you need to execute to become a legal dual agent? So in this question with Nick, so if he's already written offers for a buyer, I'm assuming he has a buyer's agency contract, right?
Right.
And so so there's one contract, and we also have a listing contract. So there's two, right? So this would be the perfect situation where you are a true dual agent. And now you will ask them to sign the real estate agency disclosure, both buyer and seller giving you permission to say you're a dual agent, right?
So technically, you need 3,
You
right?
need 3. Yep. So the answer is a listing contract, a buyer agency contract, and dual agency. So to answer Nick's question, that is the scenario where dual agency is going to be. You already have confidential information about your buyer. You have confidential information about your seller. So now you have to explain, okay, guys, I'm a dual agent, but really means I can't give either of you advice or share confidential information. I always say there's a wall, there's a veil right between us now.
Yep.
So in some ways you act like a transaction coordinator, right?
Yep.
Anybody have thoughts on that?
You do.
Yeah, is
That's
that pretty
right.
clear? Yeah, so
Yeah.
in that case, he's truly a dual agent, and just watch that line. You can't cross the line. The bottom line is you can't give the one buyer or one seller any advantage over the other one.
Right.
So what price do you want to offer? I
That's the
can't
best way
advise
to-
you.
Yep,
Right.
that's the best way. You kind of feel a little bit like an order taker, don't you?
I was
Yeah.
just gonna say, you're just a writer at this point. You just, what would you like me to do? And I take direction really well.
Yep.
And when I'm in that situation, I say to my buyer and seller, I'm in this to help with the win-win for everybody.
Yeah.
So let's just talk it through. Let's get it done. And just tell me what you want to offer. I'll write it down. Tell me what you want to counter. I'll write it down. And our end game is to help everybody win. So I hope that answers your question, Nick. Yeah.
You know, Kim, I think that's the basic of all these contracts. It is a win-win, because look at the market today where you're telling a buyer, excuse me, to write 20, 30, 40, $100,000 over list.
Yeah.
Whoever would have thought that? I mean,
Right.
30 years in the business, I would never thought I'd go to my buyer. If you want this house, you need to write 50 grand over. We would see what we would do to get it for less. And I think the win-win to me is the best advice on both sides when you get in that dual agency thing. It's just, we have to get this together. Let's have the buyer and seller come together and have it be a win-win. And to me, that's the bottom line.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep. Hey, Kim, you said something at the start of this on dual agency. Tell us a little bit about Five Star's position on dual
Dual
agency.
agency. So when we get into a dual agent position, there is a lot of liability on Five Star. And so I always look, when I have a question about agency, I always fast forward and act like I'm in front of a judge. And the judge is going to ask us questions. So when I say I have a buyer and I'm a dual agent, they're going to ask, what is your relationship with the buyer? And I'm going to say, I've shown them 10 houses or 20 houses. I've written 10 offers. I know who his grandmother is. I know what his finances in. I know what he or she's approved to, right?
Sure.
And then the same thing with the seller. And so in that situation, we can't avoid it because we know all this information about both, but our cue is we can't break the confidentiality line, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
But other than that, we typically will stay in just the buyer's position or just the seller's. And so always ask, when I think I'm going to have to be a dual agent because they walked into my open house, wait, that's really a customer. It's a stranger. I don't know anything about them. And you want to explain that to your buyer.
Yeah, good.
That makes sense. So liability, it puts us at a higher risk whenever we're a dual agent. So you want to be sure if you're becoming a dual agent that you truly are one in this situation. Yep. Any other comments?
That's good. That's good.
All right, number 3. Why did Five Star create and offer dot loop clauses? First, we're assuming everybody knows where they are, right? You click templates up in the right, go all the way down the bottom. So why did Five Star approve pre-written clauses?
To protect us, number one, to protect us, to protect our company, our agents.
Keep
And
us out of the
then-
courtroom. Right.
What, yeah.
Keep us out of the courtroom.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other thing is that we made them available to you so that no matter where you are, no matter what you're writing, they are accessible to you all in one place. If you start typing, they'll literally just start popping up in your form. But we want you to be a pro. We want you to use good, solid language that protects you, protects your broker, and protects your buyer or your seller.
So what do I do if I don't find that clause in there that really it just doesn't meet exactly what I'm looking for? Do I just try to muster that up and write up something that sounds really good?
Or man, you could talk to those wonderful deal doctors that we have, right? That have
Yes.
how many years of knowledge, right? Have knowledge well beyond all of us here, probably, other than Paul Brooks, right? But yes, to pick up the phone, make sure before your hair's on fire, it's 8 o'clock at night, you're writing something you shouldn't be writing, make sure you make that call. We
Right.
want to make sure that you're protected in all cases.
Yep. Yeah, because there's always, we want to make sure we address the issue, who pays, who's doing what, and what are the consequences. And so those guys are amazing with language.
There.
I personally used to fumble through it and I just call them up and say, hey, or what I do is when Don or Eric give me language, I save it into a clause so that when another agent asks me, I have that language. But there are times where it just needs specific language and we want you to give the deal doctors a call and they are more than happy to help you before you write it so that we don't have problems later. Perfect. All right. Number 4, when you want to design a new brand for yourself, who offers the best design team?
Boy. You
Who
have
could
that
that
answer,
be?
anybody? Can anybody jump out there with that answer? I'm going with Five Star, gang. They are the best. And again, if you haven't talked with them, if you haven't had an opportunity to kind of share as you get into the business, the things that are going to be important to you, your goals, those kind of things, you need to do that. First and
Yes.
foremost, that's part of the foundation of setting who you're going to be in real estate. So our group, maybe I'm a little biased, but they're the best.
They are the best. And you can contact Mary at fivestarleaders.com.
Yep.
And she will talk with you, set you up for an appointment. We have an amazing team. What Five Star does very, very well is we customize to you and your brand. It's not one size fits all.
You got it.
And, in my other life, I'm going to be really, really creative. I'm going to have that brain that just can come up with but if you don't have that brain like me, we have them, our creative team, that's amazing, and they'll help you and make you look good yep, got it.
No,
All right,
can I say something about
Sure,
that?
absolutely.
Being new to the company,
Yeah.
I set a appointment with Mary, and the next thing you know, my screen pops up, and there's 5 people in the thing, and it was the whole team, and talking to me about what I like, my flavor, my past, you know, kind of to get to understand who I am.
Mhm.
And I said to Mary, I said, Mary, are you just doing this because I'm broker support, or do you always have the whole team? And they go, no, we do this with everybody. So I had 4 people, Mary and 3 other people, kind of ask me questions about myself to kind of create a logo and a theme behind my personality. And
Yes.
so it wasn't just like one person going, okay, well, let me just draw this up. I was blown away by the people. And she said they do that with everybody.
Yeah.
Yes, and if you want some samples, go over to our YouTube channel, and there's amazing videos there. I go through some of them, and there's the intro videos for the agent, there's marketing videos for the properties, event videos. It's just an amazing team, and they'd be glad to meet with you and help you with whatever your project is.
Yep.
All right, perfect. Number 5. Who knows how many brokers at 5-star are there to support your questions?
There you go. I'm going with 9, right?
9.
That's
Yep.
huge. That is huge. People take
Yep.
advantage of us. Take advantage of us. What a team.
Yes, this is 4 of the 9 plus the deal doctors. That's 6. And then we have Phil Carlson, Paul Carlson, and Greg
Carlson.
Carlson. So amazing. I'm just going to tell you, I got a really nice compliment the other day. So it might make my phone ring a lot, but I'm going to share. So we were in a recruiting appointment, and we had them reach out to one of our agents, Mary Noneman. And so Mary is really good at selling 5-star and sharing. She moved over from another company. She's tripled her business. She's amazing with her creativity now. And so she was selling this competitor who is very strong in our area. And she said, let me talk to you about broker support. She said, you know, your 2 brokers named X and X, she named them. She said, you think they're the best, right? She said, Kim Anderson's both of them, and we haven't, both of them together, and we haven't even talked about the deal doctors. So that's the kind of raving fans that we really, that's our goal here, is to help you. I would say we're not perfect, but we're available as often and as much as we can. And if I don't have the answers, I'll definitely pass you on to somebody else. But that's one of the things that we do really, really well here. And we want you to give us a call, and we are always glad to help you.
Absolutely.
Okay, so that's my pat on my own back. But that represents all of you too.
Yep.
All right, so number 6, where can I go to get instant responses to my questions from my peers? So say I call Doug, he's not available, he's on appointment. I call Kim, she's not available. I can't seem to find someone who's instantly available to answer the phone for whatever reason. And you want to go out and find out, you need some answers. Where would you go? What's another option for you?
Facebook Connect.
There you go.
Connect.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, it's a really great tool, not only just to ask the question that you're looking for right now, but it's a great place to go back to later. So for example, yesterday, Lisa McSaube called me and was looking for an agent in the UP. And so of course we have Nick Fairchild that's up there, but I couldn't remember the area that he worked in. Well, first of all, I couldn't remember his name, and then it took me a minute, and then I needed to know what area, but I had remembered that he had posted on Facebook Connect, hey, yeah, the UP is a pretty big area. Like, I don't cover the whole UP. And so then I taught Lisa to go in there, use the search tool. So in this case, we searched Nick Fairchild, and we found all the posts where people had said, hey, call Nick Fairchild, and he described the area that he works. And so I don't care whether you're looking for an agent or you're having a radon issue, you need a pro for a painter, you're looking for a handyman or a plumber, you're going to be shocked at the resources you're going to find in the Facebook Connect page just by using the search tool within that page. But it's a place for you to interact with your peers in lots of different ways, share frustrations, successes, things like that.
I read one yesterday, or I think it was yesterday or day before, anyway, where an agent said, what do I do? Just got the title work back. The survey shows the house is on the property line. So that's where our broker support team also monitors. But you have agents who have been in the business 30, 40 years, maybe just even 5 years, but they have experience. And so you can post your question in there and you can tap into over 630 other agents who have probably done or had the same problem that you have. And they're always more than willing to help. So that's a really good spot. Like I said before, I actually copy some of the answers and save them into an email and label it surveys. Because this is how Jeff Blahnik said he solved it, right?
Right.
And so that's what I do. It's an amazing resource. Yep.
Yep.
All right, cool. Number 7, what document gives you maximum protection from he said, she said legal issues? Who knows?
Whose thoughts? Trace?
Pre-offer addendum.
Yep.
Keeps us out of trouble. Greg talks about the flight, the pilots
Pre-flight.
in the plane and,
Yep.
and their I can't even talk, pre-flight, what's the word? Checklist, their
Checklist.
pre-flight checklist. And this is pretty much it. I wish I had a copy of it in front of me, but it is in .loop under 5-star company forms, isn't it?
Yes,
Yeah.
and we are updating it. I know Eric and Don reviewed it and even added some more teeth because of the appraisal gaps and some of the things we're facing in this market. And that's over to operations and it should be being uploaded if it's not already there.
Yeah.
I did discuss the form at the Deal Doctor on Monday.
Okay, that's
put
right.
on. And
Yes,
so it is an amazing form. And like I said in the time that I spoke, it just makes us look so much more professional because we're going over everything in detail and explaining to the customer, client, whatever, all these things that can come up or are factors in the deal. So, I mean, to me, it was an amazing form, and I just learned about it like a couple weeks ago. So it was great, super.
yep.
great.
It's also excellent for new agents because really it's a summary of the purchase agreement and it helps you to get all the answers that you might not know
Yes.
about or like, oh, what's that mean? It'll trigger you to ask the questions like, do you need help with closing costs? And so, oh, you mean I need to give an earnest money if you're working with someone who's never bought a home before? Oh, I have to pay for inspections. What's that going to cost me? So it triggers a lot of really great conversations. And according to Greg Carlson, if we get called into court, we typically win by using that form, right?
Yeah.
So it's another level of protection.
Yep. I love that it just gives a little bit more detail to it too. They saw it in the purchase agreement, but it spells it out in real clear English. And especially for people who are emotional, when you've got to that point, you've got that buyer, they found that house and they found it like 12 times, but they keep losing. And so it's emotional. There's a lot of rush, but this calls us to call out specific points within that purchase agreement that we just want to say, you know what, here's a little bit more detail to these things. We want to make sure that you didn't miss anything. So.
Yeah, it's amazing. I use it with my offers, especially the first time I write with anybody in this market, when you're waiving inspections and you're not, a big one in there is you're giving them 30 days possession and there's no money in escrow.
Yeah.
And there's a big difference from the day they want to win and they say, oh no, we'll waive that. You can stay 30 days for free, no money in the bank. Then on day 31 or day 30, when you take the home and there's damages to the wood floor and the wall mounts are gone and there's big holes in the walls and the dog chewed up the sliding door, right? There's a big difference. So this is an excellent form. Like Paul said, he talked about it on the Deal Doctor live stream this past Monday, and those are also found on Facebook, and highly recommend that you go and read through that.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Number 8, does 5-star allow limited service? And what is a limited service contract?
I was gonna say, Kim, give us the explanation, will you please? The answer is no, right?
The answer is no. And yeah, and Tracy, you have a couple things you're gonna say, and then
I was just gonna, we don't offer it. We're a full service brokerage. So when we represent our clients, we represent them from start to finish, from negotiating, showings, everything in between. The client is not responsible for any of the pieces and parts of what happens between us and the other agent. And that is our responsibility. So we do not offer any limited service.
Yep. And when you come across one on the MLS, it's very important. There's one company that does I see periodically, I don't know how much they do, but I do see them come across. And so say it's a $300,000 listing and they're offering $500 for a commission, for a co-brokerage fee. That's a limited service. Then it says, call the seller at. Send offers to. So basically they're putting it into the MLS system for a flat fee. And then a seller who is not a licensed realtor who sells his home or her home every 5 or 10 or 15 years is now the person on the other end handling that transaction.
Yep.
So there are some steps that you need to take ahead of time in order to, first of all, the rule is before you show that property, we want to talk with you on how to present the compensation agreement and get yourself the brokerage fee of 3% or whatever it is that you charge prior to showing that home and just accepting $500 on a buyer. Otherwise, we need to talk with you on how you're going to get paid from your buyer. That's a big topic, but just know we put that out there. But those are limited service agreements. 5-Star does not allow them. We are a full service brokerage. We do not allow our sellers or buyers to, sellers, I'll just say, to represent themselves, right?
As it should be. As it
All
should.
right. Number 9. Is the goal of the deal doctors to make your life difficult or to protect you and 5-Star?
Protection,
Come on, Doug.
protection, come on.
Boy, make those guys make our life difficult. I'm kidding, gang. They are the most helpful people you'll ever want to talk with, because
Yes.
to me, it's kind of a no-brainer. I mean, even when I'm thinking through things and I think, well, this is really the way it should be. Boy, when I pick up the phone and I call the deal doctors, boy, do they set me straight on some things. So most definitely err on the side of caution. Use them, guys, because they're super important to what you're doing.
They are. And they are 2 of the smartest people I've ever met. Sometimes I say, Don, how do you know all this? And I've been with 5-Star 4 years. And I say I get credit for 10 because I've learned from the best. Don Phelan, I just like, who makes you want to know these things, right? It's like, I can ask him anything.
Yeah.
They're just bright people. And so it's always good to learn from them. I know sometimes they have to tell us we didn't do something right, but just remember they're always doing that in your best interest, right? All right, we're going to take one more. It's 10:28. We're on number 10 of 25. So we'll be back next week. I hope you're enjoying these topics. I think they're very, very important, and we want to help you learn and grow as a real estate agent. Last one, number 10. Is there any reason not, I underline, to explain agency and have the buyer sign an agency disclosure form on the first appointment? Who's a pro at disclosure? Paul, you've done a lot of transactions. Is there any
You don't
time
want me
that-
to answer this one.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, you're supposed to hang it signed right when you meet them.
Yep.
That's all I can say.
Yeah, and tell me what is the real estate agency disclosure a contract or what is it?
It's just a notice.
Yep,
Just giving the buyer notice of what your fiduciary is, quote unquote, at the first meeting.
Okay.
For newer people, in the old days, we always represented the seller. It didn't matter. We didn't even have we didn't disclose anything to the buyer. A lot of buyers thought in the day that we represented them because we were buddies. We went to school together. We went to church together. And fiduciarily, we worked for the seller. And so that's why this law was kind of come into play, where we need to disclose to the buyer who we are representing until we come into a contract with a buyer.
yep.
And I explained the agency as we list houses for the seller, and I'm going to list you as a buyer. I'm going to list you, and you're going to become contractually under me so that I can represent you.
Yep. And your best
We'll
interest.
disclose that right up front, day
Right up
one,
front.
meeting one.
Well,
And then hopefully we move them into a buyer agency contract, right?
Absolutely.
no question.
You
Well,
know,
if
one
you
of the things
explain-
that I think, go ahead.
Go ahead, man.
You know, we have all these forms and we're all on this internet loop, email this and that. I really think it's important to have these forms with us. And again, this is my age showing and all that, but to be able to give people these forms and say, this is what you're going to run into. These are the forms that you are going to sign. That, you know, I don't get a buyer agency contract day one. I explain to them what it is. I explain to them what it's going to mean when you sign it and why you should sign it. But here's the form, take it home, read it. Now you do need to do the agency up front. I get that.
Yeah.
But here are the forms and give them the buy-sell agreement in their hand. Because when they get to the point, and you mentioned this earlier too, they're just going to click initials, boom, 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 sign, and they're not going to read anything. And they need to really have this stuff up front. So I'm old school. I have a packet and you hand it to them and they read it and they look at it and say, this is what we're going to be dealing with up front. And you need to understand that. And I think that pre-offer addendum thing should be in that packet and understand what we're talking about. This is the sales personship that we're talking about. It's not just click, 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 click. Because being an owner and managing agents, these new agents, a lot of people, they haven't even read the contract really. And so I don't know, I'm getting off on a tangent there, but my point is that the agency is one component of it, but you can also give them a lot of information so that you don't have to go, well, sign here and I'm going to own you. That's not what we're trying to do here. That's me. I want them to work with me. I want to represent them.
Well, and Paul, just what you said, this business is all about disclosing, right? And the more we tell people how we're going to work up front,
right?
Because this is how it works. This is how I work. And this is why it's important. And when you do that, it kind of puts you well above your peers in this business, doesn't it? Because I'm guaranteeing that most agents don't do that day one. And Kim, to your point, that all has to be done up front.
Yep, the disclosure has to be, I always say, the state of Michigan requires me to let you know who I represent. Hopefully, this is what this means. And hopefully now that we've talked about this, you'll want me to represent you as a buyer. And I go right in the buyer agency. If you don't want to use the buyer agency contract, we've also, and I believe this will come up later on in our questions, there's an easy out contract. They can cancel at any time. I like a buyer agency contract because some agents say, well, I know you, we're friends, you're going to work with me, you're not going to go off somewhere else. But there are some people that don't understand that. And I had a situation that almost cost me $18,000 this summer. Thankfully, I got my client back because I always say it protects me from the other agent. That'll say, do you have an agent? Did you sign a contract? And you go, no. And they go, oh, well, let me just write it for you. And then when I'm done writing it, I'll list your house too. And then $20,000 later, somebody else got your paycheck. So there are reasons, but I like them. My people are going to work with me. They're going to be loyal, probably never have to sign a thing, but we like it. Another reason we'll get into in our next session is designated agency and why we need that. So that all 630 agents aren't representing your client, but also to protect you when they're out dropping, Zillow, contacting a Zillow agent or going to an open house, then you have that relationship buttoned up with your client, and you'll be sure that all your hard work ends up with a payday as well. So
Right.
I've really enjoyed this. Any final thoughts from anybody?
I would just say, if you haven't taken the competency quiz yet, this is a great opportunity for you to take it, because this competency quiz, we just did half of it for you.
Yes.
So think of this as a little cheat sheet, but we really want you to do it. I think the pledge of excellence that you got from 5-Star when you became an agent kind of outlines the things that we're going to offer you. And this is one of the things that we want you to do to help you become really just a pro at what you do. So if you need it and don't have it, if you probably have had it emailed a few times or got it from this group right here, let us know and we'll make sure you get another copy of it.
Yeah, and Emma's going to post it in the comments here too. The
Beautiful.
link to it. She's going to
Excellent.
post that and the who to call list. So it's always so fun working with this team. There's so much brilliance here, and I'm just blessed to be able to work with all of you. And I hope that our agents will continue to reach out. Know that there's never a dumb question. We're always here to help you. Some questions are harder than others. Like we said, if it's not my area of expertise, we'll certainly get you over there. So Anyway, all right, well, we finished number 10. We'll pick up on number 11 next week. We hope everybody has a great day and go sell some houses.
Beautiful.
Good
Bye,
stuff.
everybody.
All right,
Good
see ya.
stuff.